It's Thursday, and that means we are back at nutrition educator Lynn Matava's kitchen. Today, Lynn shows us how we can prep some vegetables for winter. Let's check it out.
It is getting cooler out. The seasons are changing, but there is still a bounty of summer produce. I know the little roadside stand that's just behind my house has tons of corn, tomatoes, and peppers. And there's other great things you can find as well. Other farm markets that I've dropped by have plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. And some of them are discounted for a great deal. One of the stands I went by the other day had baskets of almost perfect peppers for $2, and they all had about 4 or 5 peppers in them. Really good deal. So what do we do with all of this bounty of produce? One of the things that you can do is save these for the cooler months. This is a great way to save money, and it also allows you to enjoy some of these fresh local foods year round. There's a couple different ways we can do this. We can freeze foods, we can dehydrate them, we can can them, we can smoke or cure them, and we can ferment them. We're going to primarily talk about freezing today because things like tomatoes can be frozen and just used almost as if they were fresh in a lot of recipes later on throughout the year. So the easiest way to freeze tomatoes is simply to make sure they're clean. Line a pan with foil as I've done here. Throw the whole tomatoes on, and you can pop this directly into the freezer. The benefit to freezing them whole is if you're going to use them to make sauce or something where you want to peel them later, when you take them out of the freezer, the skins come right off as they're defrosting. So it's just a really easy thing to do if you want to make some homemade sauce later on in the year. But the other thing you can do is we can chop these up and put them on our pan for later. And you could slice them, you could chop them up into little pieces, however you think you might use them best. And then the most important thing, the reason why we have them on a sheet pan, is that we want to make sure we're spreading them out so that when they freeze, they don't freeze all in a big clump. So we could fill this pan up. I'm just rough cutting these, as you can see, and we can keep on cutting and fill it up, and then once it's filled we could put this in the freezer overnight. This could then in turn, in the morning we pull it out, we put them into a zipper bag or another container that you can squeeze most of the air out of, and all these pieces will be frozen individually, so it's just something really easy to use in recipes later on. The same thing can be done for peppers, can also be done for peaches. I also like to do this with corn, but there are some vegetables that do a lot better if we blanch them first. So the things I'm showing you today are things that I personally freeze just straight out of the garden, washed, chopped, frozen. But certain things like broccoli, asparagus, corn, they're going to freeze a lot better and last a lot longer in the freezer if we blanch them first. Blanching is when you put them in boiling water for a couple minutes. Usually it's a set amount of time for each vegetable, and then we pull it out, we put them in cold water, and then we go ahead and freeze them as we did the tomatoes and peppers. The reason why we blanch them first is that helps stop the enzyme action that makes the food break down, and it would make it go bad faster, break down the produce faster, causing a loss of flavor and quality. So it's really important that we do blanch a lot of these foods. And how do we know how long to cook them for? You can always go to the University of Maryland Extension Home Preservation page for a complete list and cooking times. Another fantastic resource is the National Center for Food Preservation. And both of those sites will give you a long list of all the different fruits and vegetables, how long they should be blanched for, and some very specific instructions for how to do that. So it makes it really easy. So we've now got our produce frozen. What are we gonna do with it? We can put it in soups and stews. We could throw tomatoes and peppers even into meatloaf, pasta, casseroles, eggs, basically anything that you would be using these things in a recipe for, you could use them frozen, same way we would if we bought them frozen from the store. But the benefit is we got these for a lot less money because we got them when they were in season and we caught them at the peak of their flavor for a great price, and then we stored them away for later. So I did also mention canning is something, and I know a lot of people in our area like to can. I'm not going to talk about canning with you today because it's a little too technical to show here. There's different canning methods for low acid versus high acid foods, but you can find classes online and near you, and again, we list those through the University of Maryland Extension page as well. But whatever you end up doing with all of this fruits and vegetables that you have frozen, I just hope these tips help your family enjoy some more fresh local foods a little longer throughout the year.